Hello friends, today I take up a new topic from ancient Indian history and the name of the topic is Rise of Feudalism in India. This is a very important topic to understand as to how socio-economic condition changed in ancient India. So my lesson plan includes introduction, origin of feudalism in India, again from post-Gupta period, and then features of Indian feudalism, differences between Indian feudalism and European feudalism, impact of feudalism, and finally conclusion. Friends, if you like my channel, please share and subscribe. This is a free channel. Just type AGIS Academy Indore on YouTube and you will find numerous videos covering Indian history, Constitution of India, geography, economy of India, general science, general mathematics and logical reasoning. So you should not go anywhere. You will find all important topics meant for competitive examinations at one platform. So just share and subscribe my channel AGIS Academy. Friends, now let us start the proceedings. Number one, my lesson plan includes introduction. So this is the chart. You see the pyramidical structure. And you see this in our society, in our Indian society, what you see? That at the top of the pyramid, Brahmins, priests and academics. And then below, this one is Kshatriya, warrior and kings, Vaishya, merchant, landowners, agriculturists, and same Sudras, commoners, peasants, servants. And now at the bottom end is untouchables, odd caste of caste, street sweepers, cleaners. And I have already discussed in my sociology class as to how untouchables originated in India. So friends, this is a hierarchical structure of our Indian society. With the rise of feudalism, what other organizations started to gain power? So this is this is the chart by which you see this, that in return the lord and nobles agreed to supply the king with soldiers and horses for his army. The king owned all the land in the country and made the laws. He gave an area of land called me to rich lords and nobles. Nobles gave some land to professional soldiers. So you see, this is the structure of European feudalism, and we will discuss later on one by one. Now introduction. Friends, as you know that the institution of feudalism is one of the important socio-economic changes that occurred in ancient India, like in European countries. So what you see that nobility held lands from the king in exchange of military services. Number two, vassals were tenants of nobles. Peasants were obliged to live on their lord's land and give him taxes, labor and share of produce in exchange for military services, in exchange for military protection. So in exchange of military protection, vassals had to give labor, money, army to king. Origin of feudalism in India from post-Gupta period. Friends, as you know that after the death of Skandagupta in 467 AD, the power of Gupta dynasty started dwindling. Earlier also, the practice of land grant had been in India, but it was not too much. the practice of land grant was started by Satavahan kings in Deccan. So now you see how the feudal system or feudalism originated in India. Number one, social crisis. Friends, as you know that during the period of 5th to 6th century AD, what do you find? A kind of social crisis erupted in our country, and because of this, so many lawgivers talks about strict rules or laws against those who deviated from the duties of the different varnas, the assigned duties of different varnas. So what is a social crisis? It means that different varnas abrogated their assigned duties, and this caused social crisis. Again, most of the foreigners came into India like Parthians, Indo-Greeks, Scythians, Kusan, and later on Huns in large numbers in Indian society. So what is it? That now the society and its control, the control over society became lax, and this caused social crisis. Abrogation of duty by Vaisyas and Sudras, and thirdly, heavy burden of taxes upon peasantry. You see that kings started giving land grants to Brahmins, and these grants were in perpetuity. And now kings abdicated their police power over those areas which had been granted to beneficiaries, and mostly these beneficiaries were Brahmins or military officers. So heavy burden of taxes upon peasantry, revolt by Kalvaras. Friends, as you know that in Deccan and southern India, what you see that from 6th century onwards, 6th century AD onwards, Kalvaras predominantly those where they were tribals and were doing cultivation work. So they rose against Brahmadev villages granted by Pallav kings or Chalukya kings. Now, at least for 75 years, they had disturbed the total social system of Deccan and peninsular India. They were so much strong that the combined force of Chalukyas, Pallavas and Pandyas ultimately crushed the revolt of Kalvaras. Now, origin of Varna Sankar or intermixture of social classes. Why it happened? And I have already told you that because of the Huna invasion into India for 200 years, so many people came into and mixed with Indian society. Some of the warrior class among Hunas were adjusted as Rajput. And so, what you see that because of this huge entries of Huns or other foreigners into Indian society, it led to the intermixing of caste. Friends, as you know that with the passage of time and because of the Brahmanization of the tribal areas, because of the land grants, most of the areas, most of the tribals came into the Brahmanical fold, and so what you see that these areas were not under the strict Brahmanical control, and this led to the intermixture of social classes. And now decline of trade and commerce from the 6th century onwards, and this led to the pressure on lands. Friends, as you know that because after the decline of Indo-Roman trade and thereafter the abrupt end of silk trade between India and the Western world and the grabbing of maximum profit by Arabian traders from 6th century AD onwards in Southeast Asian trade or Arabian trade. This led to the decline of trade in India, and because of the decline and downfall of trade, what you find that during this period from 6th century AD to 10th century or 11th century onwards, towns decayed. The thriving towns of Hastinapur, Indraprastha, Patliputra, Kosambi or Sravasti, Banaras, all these towns started decaying, and so what is saying, find that most of the merchants or traders returned to village because now they have no work in cities, no purchaser for their crafts. So these were the factors that led to the origin of Indian feudalism from 6th century AD onwards. Now, features of Indian feudalism. Friends, as you know that land grant to priests free from taxes. Number 2, beneficiaries were given the right to govern, the rights living in the donated villages. Again, government officials and royal retainers were prevented from entering into these villages. Power to punish criminal offenders were also delegated to Brahmanas and military officers or government officers who had been donated land grants, and villages were granted to Brahmin and government officials in perpetuity. From 6th century onwards, government officials were granted lands in lieu of salaries. So friends, what you see that earlier land grant was given to Brahmanas, no doubt, but the police power or the power to collect taxes were not abdicated by kings. Now from 6th century onwards in northern India and in Deccan and Peninsular India, what you find that those areas which had been given to Brahmanas or government officials in lieu of salaries, these areas were exempted from taxation, and king also abdicated their responsibility to govern those areas. So now what you see that so many estates were created within a state, with the result that feudatories became too much powerful. Now this situation created landlordism, particularly priestly landlordism in India, and this resulted into the devolution of central state authority, weakening of the central government. Number 3, landed beneficiary could neither cultivate land nor collect revenues on their own. Actual cultivation entrusted to peasants. So now we see that the granted villages put agriculture under the control of religious beneficiaries. Artisans and peasants were asked to not to leave villages. Villages granted to Brahmanas and government officials. They were preventing mass mobility, although it is a hard truth. Friends, as you know that I will discuss later on that in India there had never been the system of serfdom as it was prevalent in European countries, nor peasants or labor class were attached to the land. They had liberty to move from one place to another place, and they were called Pahis in ancient India. Now, difference between Indian feudalism and European feudalism. What is the difference? Friends, as you know that Indian feudalism was based upon caste system, and I have already shown you the pyramidal structure of caste, and so you see that the caste system which divided the society into four varnas, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Now European feudalism was divided society into church, nobility and commoners or peasantry. So in Western European feudal lords were granted, in Western Europe feudal lords were granted lands to the serf in order to get their own land cultivated. Again, Indian kings made grant to collect taxes and surplus. There was no system of serfdom in India. So friends, what you see that in Europe, landowner or lord gave a fief along with a promise with military and legal protection in return for payment of some kind from the person who received it. I mean vassal. The payment of the vassal to the lord came in the form of military service, the regular payment of produce or money. Now the vassal received any income from the land, had authority over the habitat and could pass the same right on its heirs. So what you see that the difference is that in European feudalism there was a system of manorial system whereby the people or serfs who were attached with their vassal, they could not live without their permission. Now in Indian case what you find that there was no system of serfdom and people were at liberty to move from one place to another place if they are dissatisfied with their lords, with their beneficiaries. Now this is the chart, and this will show you the character of European feudalism. At the top is king and queens. King and queens were the greatest lords of Europe, and all nobles and knights were their vassals. Again, in the second hierarchy is nobles. Nobles were vassals of kings and queens, and many were also lords of lower ranking nobles and knights. Again, in the third category where knights served their noble lords in exchange for lord. And in the last category were peasants. Peasants owned no land, so they were not part of the feudal system, but many peasants worked on land owned by nobles or knights. So you see, in exchange of the protection given by knights, these peasants work on the land of vassals. Now I switch over to another point, and this is called impact of feudalism in India. What were the fallouts of feudalism? Now number one, changes in birth system. Friends, as you know that Sudras became agriculturists. Most of the Vaishyas engaged in trades and commerce, and some of them became educated and started working as manager of large estates. Numerous castes were born, and because I have already told you that as to how the castes proliferated during this period from 6th century AD onwards. And again, rise of regional identities because of localism. Friends, as you know that with the rise of feudalism in India, the regional identity became stronger. Why? Because of the localism. The interaction between one people of one part of the country with another part became very much difficult. Now, because of the rise of regional identity, what you find? Growth of regional scripts. Earlier, before 6th century AD, there was Brahmi script that was understandable for all people of India from eastern part to western part. But now from 6th century onwards, what you see that different regional scripts developed for different vernacular languages. Again, development of Apabhransh instead of Prakrit language. Now this development of Apabhransh led to the rise of so many vernacular languages like Bengali or Bangla, Marathi or Udiya, Punjabi, Gujarati, Rajasthani, all these regional languages arose out of Apabhransh. So we see the growth of vernacular languages in India. Growth of divine hierarchy. Friends, as you know that feudalism is based upon the principle of hierarchy. So what we find that in religious matter also the gods were hierarchy placed in temples. For example, if a temple is for goddess Durga, now this idol will be placed in the center with its maximum height, and then it will be surrounded by lesser gods with a small height. The earlier gods like Indra or Varun became gatekeeper from 6th century onward. So you see that the growth of divine hierarchy took place like in the social system because of the feudalism. Now, feudalism also led to the growth of Brahmanization in tribal belts. And again, because huge numbers of land grant to Brahmanas led to Brahmanization or later on Hinduization of tribals into Hindu society from 6th to 7th century AD onwards. And similarly, it land grants to Brahmanas and military officers, government officials led to increase in the cultivating areas. Weakening of the central, another fallout of the feudalism was that it weakened the central authority and again strengthened the caste and clan system. And you see that how, why I am telling this, because if you see the Nador inscription, led inscription by Prithviraj Chauhan and his predecessors. What we find that more than 90% land grants were issued to his own caste, I mean Rajputs. So what you see, there is kind of clan system and the caste system. And among the caste system, among the Rajputs, the clan of Prithviraj Chauhan got maximum benefit out of land grants. So what you see, that because of the land grant system, because of the feudal system, the caste and clan system became more stronger. Now friends, I conclude my lecture. What conclusion we derive from this topic, I mean feudalism. Number one, feudalism led to decline and downfall of central authorities. Number one. Number two, it created states within states, and with the result that whenever central authority or king became weak, his own subordinate feudatories overthrew the king. For example, how Dantidur, Rajputa feudatory of Chalukya overthrew the Chalukya king in 757 AD. And similarly, how Aditya Chola first overthrew Pallav king when its power declined. So you see that whenever the central authority or a king became weak, his own subordinate, I mean feudatory, overthrew king and thereby establishing his own dynasty. So the deadly combination of caste, clan and feudal relationship caused immense political and military damage to India. India could not withstand the onslaught, the attacks of Muslim invaders because of the disunities arising out of these factors. So friends, you see that because of the deadly combination of feudal elements, caste or clan, what you find? That India could not pose itself as a united front against Muslim invaders like Mahmud of Ghazni or later on Muhammad Ghori. And the outcome was more than 800 years India had been under the foreign rule. So these were the conclusions that I derived from the rise of feudalism. I hope you might have cherished this lecture. If you have any comments, just write in the comment box. I will very much appreciate. Thank you very much. Stay fit. Thank you.